Okay, okay. We are live. And James's name is still not changed, but this is Grand Cross Podcast, episode 2, name pending. It's whatever it's called now. We couldn't think of a funny name.
Except Assault Melissa.
I really wanted to go with Meliodas Assaults Elaine, but I don't apparently that wasn't appropriate, so.
Bond does not approve.
Bond does not approve. Okay, so let's start off by introducing everyone. So, again, I'm Mystic. I'm the least known Grand Cross person out of everyone here. And I'm leading the podcast because that makes sense for whatever reason. Then we got at the top, we got Big Strong Nag. Big Strong Nag, how are you doing?
All right.
Okay, that's a pretty depressing all right. Then we got Big Strong Sora. Sora, how you doing?
Good show.
Man, the energy levels is not here.
Listen,
I'm doing great. I've had a fever last week, and now I am all good now.
Okay, so normally the podcast is me, Nagato, Speedy. Speedy couldn't make it, so today we have two new guests. We have Sora, who you might know from other 5-9 Gaming stuff, and we have James, Shogun GC, also known as XYZ at the moment. What's up, James?
How you doing, mate?
So I'm gonna quickly talk about James and Sora for a few minutes while we, introduce them in case people don't know who you guys are. Starting off with James. James has been doing Grand Cross global content since the minute it launched. You started off on JP, so you've known the game for a while. And when you were on JP, you were a massive big boy JP player. And we'd ask you a lot for, help with teams, things like that, because you were usually way up at the top. You were top 5, rank 5 once, right? Or did you hit rank 1 as well?
I got multiple top 5s and top 10s. Never rank 1 though, sadly.
Okay, but you've been on global.
That's already a big accomplishment. Top 5. That's pretty pogchamp.
I've got
especially in JP,
on global, so
especially on JP. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then on global. You've been, ever since Global came out, you stopped playing JP to go super try hard on Global. And since then, you've been making non-stop PvP videos with a new team almost every single day. Sometimes 2 new teams a day.
Yes.
And then just go and copy. Okay.
And yeah, makes easy content for the rest of us. And then, of course, we got Sora. Sora, you've been going back and forth between Grand Cross, Genshin, back on Grand Cross. Not uploading, but you have been uploading recently, and it seems to be popping off really well.
Yes, sir.
So that's good.
I want to just take a minute, too, to thank you to Amazing YT for the raid, and the bits from, was it Molina, I think?
Oh, should I host us?
Yes.
Yes. Let me tweet out, or let me retweet the 5-9 Gaming thing. Is it up already? Should be. Yes, there it is.
How do I host it?
I see someone with a name in chat does have a question for Sora. I figure we can actually go through if you guys have a couple questions for James and Sora.
Right. If you have anything you want to ask James or Sora, you can ask them now. Otherwise, we'll move on to the first topic.
I see a question. Why is Sora hot? Blessed by God. It is what it is. I won the coin flip at birth.
Anyway, so how are you guys doing?
Okay, I don't really see any questions coming out. So we can just go on to the first topic.
I'm rating us with 3 viewers, 5, 9.
Let's go.
Nice.
There were people already waiting for me to stream on my Twitch for some reason, but now I'm hosting.
So let's go on to the first topic. We're going to start off with the 2 new units on Global that came out most recently, Ludo, or Ludociel, and Droll. So Ludo's on the screen. We'll talk about Ludo. He is the first Archangel to come out on Grand Cross. The first one, or the first unit to come out with a Grace, similar to that of the Commandments, but functions. Oh, that's a scary picture. Okay. he comes out with a Grace, and I'll explain a little bit about a Grace, what it is, talk about Ludo's kit, and then we can go on to kind of our what we think about Ludo as a unit. So the Grace mechanic, which is kind of like the commandment in terms of it's an extra passive, but unlike a commandment, the Grace only gets applied to Ludociel. The cool thing about the Grace is that if you use Ludociel as a association unit or a link unit, then the main unit that he's attached to also gets his Grace. And that is something that we'll see in the future with Sariel and Tarmiel. And whenever Mael comes out, we don't know how he's going to be done. The other thing with Graces is that they're essentially just a second passive, whereas commandments have, like, they can be, depending on how you construct your team, they can be positive or negative.
Positive and negative, all of them.
Mm-hmm. Like they have ups and downs, but Graces, as of right now, are purely just a benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So
but Graces are very, it's just for one person. One person gets the Grace. The commandment, everyone gets it,
Right. And it literally is just a second passive, right? It is just another buff on the unit.
It's crazy how, they implemented that, and all the Archangels are like super broken because of it. Just having a second passive is insane.
Yep. And let's talk about...
It's so free. Like, Sariel just ignores 50% of... Like, there's no drawbacks. He just gets powerful. So stupid. Anyways.
Okay, let's talk about Ludociel's kit, and then we'll go into how we think of him as a unit. So Ludociel's passive is one that we've seen before on Green Fraudrin that came out with Lost Vein Meliodas, but taken a different route where if you have more CC than your opponent, it has an effect going off in PvP. Or in general, but PvP is his primary use. His passive says, if you have more CC than your opponent, reduce their defense-related stats. Is it by 30% or 40%?
40.
Oh my god, it's disgusting.
Yeah, it's so much. It's a Benny Maru rank 3.
Okay, so then it's Death Pierce that does 30% crit resistance. Okay, yeah, that's what it was.
You combine both and it's 70% less crit resistance and crit defense.
Yeah, and you put Green Ghost and it's another 15%.
Then his Grace is he evades skills with Petrify, Freeze, or Stun effects for 2 turns at the start of battle. He's just immune to those moves completely.
Now the thing that's crazy about Grace is that I thought right when we saw Ludociel that the Graces would only last for like 2-3 turns because of how Ludociel's is, but Tarmiel and Sariel is infinite. For the whole match, Tarmiel is just healing. Like, he just doesn't care. I think Ludociel got a short end of the stick.
Mm-hmm. But he was like the first one to come out, right? So,
but they definitely had them planned.
Right.
Yeah.
And then his 2 moves. His first move is a move that we see a couple of units have. It's just raw damage, single target. So it's the 240, 360, 600% move. It just does damage, no other effect. And his other move is actually a really, really powerful one, especially with Goddess Elizabeth out. It is the Rupture move that we have on like
is that
Blue
my
DN.
Gameplay? Just saw my Ludociel gameplay.
Yeah, your gameplay is everything.
And then it's AoE Rupture, which is double damage to buff units, and it works on Goddess Elizabeth's shield, which is really, really powerful.
Actually, like, he's the first unit in the game to actually do that card right.
Yep.
Like the double damage against buff, because every other unit in the game that has that sucks. But he made it right.
I kindly disagree.
Against Liz.
Yeah, Blue Diana is decent.
But she never was good because of that. Right? I think that adds to Ludociel. Because of
when he came out where that was like an issue, okay. I'll give you that.
When it was a good like card to have. I think it wasn't a necessary card for like the end or something.
The ultimate is Goddess Holy Arc, inflicts 350% damage, AoE, at level 1, and makes a 20% barrier off of the damage he does. And this scales both the damage he does and the barrier health he generates scales with ultimate levels. And it's a permanent barrier. Every single other barrier in the game is temporary for a certain amount of time or rounds. Ludociel's barrier, the moment he ults, will be permanent until you break it.
It's very toxic.
It is. But usually, like, the barrier doesn't decide anything. Like, just doing the ult and getting the damage off is more than enough. Yeah. So let's talk about the unit. So that's his kit. He's been out on Global for a whole, like, 3 days. But we've had him on JP for months. Have you used them at all, James, yet?
I don't even have an. I haven't summoned for him yet.
Oh no, that is not the right move.
No, don't worry. I will.
I respect
I'll-
it.
I mean,
know,
if,
as long as-
if you're not a whale, I don't recommend summoning for him, but James is, so I don't know what you do.
All right,
Yeah.
let's start with that because I had that written as one of the things I wanted to go over. Is he worth summoning for as a free to play? Like, what
No.
is the tipping point at which you're like, okay, he is a unit that I should go after?
He's just
I
not.
think
because
it's
if
just
you're
very
free to
in-
play, you have to 6-6 him. That's the issue. And max out all his costumes, or else he's just not good. That's the issue.
I think
And
it
is
varies.
You are here.
Because if you ask me, like I'm in the honest belief that me personally, right, as a player of this game, or like from day one on both versions, I feel like that if a free to play really wanted to commit to a unit, like to build a Ludosio, sure they're not going to be able to max him out day one and all that stuff, but if they really wanted to, they can of course eventually over time build him. They'll get dupes for him inevitably just from playing the game. Building a maxed out set I think is very easy to do, and of course building UR gear is easy to do. It just takes time. So I feel like if someone really wanted to build him, they definitely can. It's just, do people feel like the investment is worth it?
And not even that. The thing is that he's good, and you should
Yeah.
build him, but you shouldn't summon for his banner. That banner is not worth summoning for if you're free to play. You should summon for Escanor's banner. Ludociel might be in the on global. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you should pull him from other banners, not his banner that doesn't have any like stupid broken units featured. You might just pull Gurheat. You want to pull Gurheat? You don't. It took me 1,600, 1,300 jumps to pull him on JP, my first copy, and I pulled like 4 Gurheats in the meanwhile. It's just not a good banner.
I got pretty lucky on my global summons. I only did 360 gems and I got 2 copies, and I pulled no. What's her name? I thought it was Jahard.
I don't know how to
It's-
say
I
it.
think it's
Jihad.
Jihad, no?
I
Well,
say
we ain't gonna say it right.
Jihad once on the video, and people were angry at me.
Yeah, because
Okay,
Well, I'm German.
the fans know best.
True.
I think it's Jihad or Gahade. Jihad?
I think it's Get Harder because that's the name I know in real life.
Okay, but
That's just German.
so
Yeah.
still talking about Ludo. I want to talk about, what do you think of his passive in terms of, is it healthy for the game or not, right? Like we saw it with Fraudrin. Fraudrin existed, but very little people, like Fraudrin was good for the people who could max him out, right? But for the
Yeah,
average player, he was just a garbage unit.
Okay. I see what you mean, and I say yes and no. I think
Okay.
the whole like building a character is really cool. Like you have to give this character big investment, but I think Ludociel is way too like, because the thing about Ludociel is that he doesn't have the highest of stats as it is, just because festival units have higher stats than him. Like Liz, if you build Liz like fully, which is what everyone uses, like every single team uses Liz, which is like what you're gonna face every single day. My Liz, which has terrible gear, has 55.1 KCC. Like, and my Ludociel, which has almost full 15%, with everything maxed out, has 54.7. So, like, even if you fully commit to Ludociel, he could still get out CC'd.
I think isn't Ludo missing one
Yes,
headpiece though?
Headpiece.
It's gonna
Yeah, he's
just
missing a headpiece still.
5 point something. Or 55. Like, it's not gonna be like.
Like,
as
so
in-
he will be up there. I mean, he's gonna out CC like 99% of the units.
I don't want the out CC passive anymore. I want something else.
Okay.
To
Yeah.
block something like that. The out CC thing, it forces you to always use Ludociel with CC food, which is already annoying. Like,
That's
maybe you
true.
want to do a different strategy. Oh,
You literally cannot, if you are running Ludociel or Fraudrin on your team and you're not using CC food, you are essentially throwing the match.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You need to be running CC food
And
with these units.
the thing is that, unlike Fraudrin, Ludociel is very like unreliant on the meta, because Fraudrin is dead right now on global NJP because he just doesn't fit with the game anymore. But I think Ludociel is gonna fit like perfectly,
Mhm.
like forever maybe.
I think his lifespan is really, like, his passive is just too strong. right?
Unless
It's
they
too
make,
healthy, I think.
unless they make a unit that doesn't have the requirement of CC and does like 30 or 35, then why
Right.
would you Lucio and you risk getting out CC'd, even if
Mhm.
you have him already like fully built up?
It gives you like
there-
flexibility
yeah,
on using different food.
Gopher that does 15%, which is like day one unit, you know? A 15% SR Gopher. They could just release a festival, like the festival Assault Melee does that, imagine. Like 40% and there's no CC requirement. They could do that. There's nothing stopping them.
The one thing that is kind of fun with Ludociel, though, is ever since Green Gother dropped, the Ludociel, Green Gother, Death Pierce in the back combo has been really, really prevalent. Like, you use that, so those 3 units, right? And your final unit is just literally anyone who does any remote amount of damage at all, right? You can make that unit, like, so 3 of your units are locked in at Ludo, Gother, and Death Pierce in the back. That 4th unit is whoever you want to have fun with, and they'll pop off every time because that's just how this team works.
It's just a guarantee to make this unit look good.
Exactly.
I have to,
Not good, but decent. Yeah,
I have to
at least decent.
You disagree?
It doesn't work anymore. After Escanor, what happens is if you use that team, you can't just double kill Escanor, and if you don't, Escanor gets a free kill on anyone because he's just that strong. Like,
that's
Yeah,
true.
and if you kill Luciel, your whole team is dead. Like,
not
doesn't work
using
anymore.
Goddess Liz is just sad right now because Escanor basically one-shots any unit in the game. So it's just unfortunately not good right now. But maybe when
Escanor doesn't exist on global right now.
Yeah,
True.
Which means
You can
until
still have
Escanor
some
comes
fun
out,
with.
you can have a amazing time,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Rocking this team. But again, it's only limited to the people who build Ludociel. And my Ludo on global is only 2.6. I don't think he's worth investing into until he's 4.6.
I would agree with that.
Right, because you're still missing 1.2k CC off. No, it's only 800 CC, right? It's 400 per ultimate
Oh my
dupe.
god. I'm sorry, stopping you, but I just got the free multi on the lane and I pulled the lane. You gotta be kidding me.
Nice.
We're gonna talk about a lane later for people curious.
I already have a 6.
But yeah, like Ludo, do you know how much CC it is per dupe?
400.
400. Okay, so you're missing 800 CC, which is okay, but like every CC counts.
Like I said, Goddess Liz, most common in the game. Mine shit gear, 55.1 KCC. You know, like festivals just have way too much CC.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so talk about Ludo. Ludo's amazing unit. Not free to play friendly, but I do agree with James in the sense where if you do want to build Ludo, you can build him over time. He is going to be in the Goddess 6% SR tickets that you can summon for over there, and he will be in future at least as of right now.
He'll be relevant for months.
Yes.
It's not even a bad idea.
Well,
And
he's still relevant in the game. Like,
he
if you
won't be.
Escanor and Ludociel is an amazing team.
Mm-hmm. And he's not hard to get, right, going forward. Because he's a non-festival unit, he's actually relatively easy to find. He's also a non-coin shop unit, which puts him in most banners, at least on JP. On Sariel and Tarmiel's banner, I did 2 rotations, so 1,200 gems, and I pulled 4 copies of Ludociel on that banner.
I pulled 12 Ludociels. Like,
so,
in recent times.
I think, like, if you do want to invest in the Archangels as a whole, because, you know, you can also just run the Archangels team.
Which is a good team.
The Sariel and Tarmiel banner, assuming they bring the exact banner over to global, is a really good banner to summon on. But it's up to you, right? Like whatever you're saving for Escanor, or, you know, if you're saving for Escanor, then maybe not. Like, for example, on global, I'm not spending money on global anymore. I'm just doing the monthly packs and maybe weeklies here and there. But besides that, I'm not buying anything else. I'm skipping King, and I'm summoning on Sariel Tarmiel. Like, that's the banner I'm gonna go for.
I mean, I'm saving for the one. The one's really too good.
The one is too good, but the Archangels are so much fun.
Oh yeah, they are. Honestly,
Sariel is discount the one pretty much.
On JP, the best team in the game is Gopher, Sariel. I'm sorry, Gopher, Tarmiel, and Estarossa. It's just way too strong. It's a really good combo. You just absolutely obliterate the one. The one can't compete with that team.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Okay, let's move on. So it's still, I kind of put these as two topics together. The next one is Droll. Droll,
Ooh,
Game
Vote
to
Droll,
global.
boys. Please vote Droll, please, boys.
I think it's too late. Yeah,
How is he not? How is Green Escondor the top 3? How have you not gotten him 10 out of 6 from SR tickets?
it doesn't even matter if you have him 1/6. You're not using
he's
him anymore.
Anyway. Yeah, come on.
Like Derriere, I understand, right? Like, okay, maybe
Maybe
for
forever gonna be good.
like
as a
for final boss, for guild boss, whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You can even run her in PvP. Like, it's not the end of the world. But
true.
Droll, like, people just don't understand that this unit is like a top 10 unit in the game,
Top
and people
5, bro.
don't care.
Droll
Yeah.
is top 5
Joe
easily.
is really good.
Droll is so
On
like,
global, at least. On
Both
global.
Drolls are really good. Like I prefer Green, but both of them are easily like top 5, 7.
Combining with Green Gopher and some units that released on global earlier is just really good. And like the thing is, it's because it's Droll. Like I realized when I make like a video and Droll is one of the characters in the thumbnail or title, it just doesn't get views because
Yeah, same.
I'm surprised at that because like my opinion is my opinion, but I thought Droll was really cool. Like character wise, like not
Yeah,
not
same,
Grand Cross
same.
related.
Bro,
Jotaro-
he's voiced by Jotaro, bro.
And he made Diane less annoying. How can you not love him?
Like how?
Perfect.
Like,
Perfect
how are
character.
you, like, I don't get the fanboy culture, man. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't like why do you prefer short people? Why is Zeldris and Meliodas the most hype?
Boy,
So
I
we
don't
got
get it, man.
both green and blue Droll at the same time. Blue Droll being the coin shop, green being in banners afterwards.
Joe is so good with Sario. Ugh.
Blue Droll is amazing. Green Droll is the more flexible
Nah,
one.
here's the thing. Blue Drow, that taunt is huge. If you
Especially
get
right
like
now.
a true taunt, the last for true turns, you can't be petrified. You can be stunned, but that doesn't remove the taunt. Can be petrified, it's so good.
I'll just say that green Droll is the more commonly used one as of right now.
Yeah.
So blue Droll, you'll see a
I
lot.
prefer his passive.
Oh, the ultimate locking
The
is
old
so
lock, yeah,
good.
it's so good. You
Right.
don't do anything, but they can't ult.
Like the team that's being showcased right now, the Zeldris
yeah,
Zeldris
it's
Droll
great.
team, like the Zeldris Commandment team, right? That has Droll on it for ultimate locking. You're constantly resetting their the lock by removing an ultimate gauge with either Gother or Zeldris, and they can never ult. And you get your ults, and it doesn't matter. Like they can have like 4 stacks of
And
Of-
Drill's ultimate hits so hard too.
yeah. It's not even Troll's
Yeah.
ultimate. I have HP defense set on Droll, and if
Yeah.
they have 5 ultimate gauge, that detonate card they're gone.
Oh yeah, yeah. They have 5 ultimate gauge. That level 3 does like 150k type neutral, like with HP defense. Which is for HP defense, it's so high.
It's really good, yeah.
So I'm
I
kind of
run my
disappointed.
draw with the Wedding Diane. Because
How are you liking
I
that?
am-
Because like that team, I
With
tried it
Wedding
out.
Diane,
it's my favorite team in the game.
Is it just
Wedding
fun?
Diane, Droll, Zeldris. No, it's just oppressive as hell. Like my opponent just can't do much, and of course, it's super fun for me because I'm pretty sure people probably didn't even read what Wedding Diane does, but she
And it's
is
40% increased damage for
incredible
Giants,
with
right?
Draw. Yeah,
I wish Matrona worked in PvP. Like she's so bad, make her work. Whatever.
they literally
Imagine those-
gave us Matrona's passive, but for goddesses, it's just like
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. They gave
I
us
don't get
Matrona's
it.
passive for like top 3 units in the
for
game.
even
Cool.
better units. It's just
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
come
yeah.
on, bro, be consistent, will you?
Tariel Sarion. Oh yeah, here's a basic stat buff. Okay,
The
cool.
fucking Giants needed that, and they were like, you know what, Goddesses probably holds 4 of the top 10 best units in the game. Yeah, you can get that passive for free. It's fine. And the unit, like Sario himself, gets the passive too. It's not like just a team. Sario himself
Yeah,
also.
yeah, Sarion gets it too. Tarmiel gets it. Yeah, that's stupid.
That's like no matter what Sariel's passive is like red Helbrum's passive, right? From like OG red Helbrum, but all the time with no downside.
Yeah, zero.
Pretty cracked. It was
Man.
pretty
Yeah, I
cracked.
think no, they definitely went out of their way to make Sario stupid because like the next big banner was the one. So they were like, let's make this like stupid broken unit people are gonna want to summon and waste their gems. I don't know what they did with freaking Red Jericho releasing afterwards, but they released the one
Oh,
after
yeah.
like, a blue unit to counter Sario that had just come out.
I still love Sariel though. But yeah,
Oh yeah. Look,
Droll,
So,
at least on JP, is still very viable on multiple teams. You can run one of the most fun teams to run with Droll is the Sariel Droll team, where you run Droll's commandment, and the commandment gives you stacks of patience.
resist. Yeah, it's so good.
And
Works with the AOE.
and it works with it works with Sariel's single target.
yeah,
which
Cyrus
does-
is
Oh,
like,
the single target is the one with
Yeah.
the patience.
the
Okay.
more damage, the more patience they have.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does more damage for more patience, meaning that for what you think they're getting more tanky, they're just dying quicker to
Taking more
Sariel.
damage. That's a crazy combo, man.
Yeah, and you get tankier. You like that's actually like a commandment that there's no downsides. If you use
True.
Cyrus.
It's actually there's no downsides for you.
Yeah.
So
You're
that
just
is one of the most fun teams to run Droll on JP. But the standard team that you're going to see is the Droll Zeldris combo, and either commandment is viable on that team. It just depends on what you're feeling, what the meta's looking like. It really just comes down to whatever you want to run. Or if you want to go Glue Eater status, you can go the Droll Valenti combo.
Ugh.
Who does that, man?
People with no soul.
It's the same thing as when like I remember I was playing a bit of JP and I thought that Esterosa Tamio Gotha stuff, and I was just like, how are you enjoying this, bro?
Cancer.
How is this even fun, bro?
They're just
Oh yeah,
immune
no,
to
it's
everything.
it's so annoying.
And-
it's so annoying.
One
It's
thing
awesome.
that existed this entire time but wasn't really talked about or mentioned until like Nagato started doing it is throwing Esterosa in the back.
Yeah. You put
Yeah, 'cause it
Esterosa-
still works.
It still
still
works, but like, why would you ever want to use Esterosa in the back previously, right? Like,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
it never really occurred to people that that was an option. But overall, kind of sad that Droll didn't get picked up more, even though he's such an amazing unit. He really is.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Global fully didn't care
Bonkers.
about him.
Bro,
Yeah,
Derriere has almost 5 times the amount of votes that Droll does. And why, for the life of me, I cannot understand. I had a big Twitter rant about this, and I still just failed to
I
comprehend
feel you.
where that logic is. Like, you know, it's just so
Mhm.
hard for me to swallow. Green Escanor in second place, like, you guys play JP, right? Don't you get a free level 80 Escanor?
We do.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
no,
like,
you get
why?
A free level 80 Ascanor, Blue Demon, like it's crazy that banner.
Yeah,
Like-
it's that's so good. If you knew or if you're still playing and you don't have your box leveled up yet, it's so good.
Green Ascanor wasn't he in like multiple global banners? Like
Bro, he's been on so many banners. The guy is super old. He's an incredibly old unit, yet he's the second most voted. Like, are bots voting? Or, like, you know, like, what's, like, something's not making sense here. Because I remember this is like what happened on JP, right? When I was still playing, when they did this vote, there was units like Red Esterosa and Green Meliodas in the top 10 when JP players did their vote, and it's just like, who's making these decisions?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
the people voting don't actually know how good they are. They just want that character. That's the thing.
It's crazy. it
Like,
just makes no
Rest-
sense.
Rest-
I mean, yeah, it's like I guess like majority of the people playing this game aren't social networkly connected, right? So they don't see what else is going on. They're just playing off of what they think.
Yeah, and they just ruin it for everyone else.
I'm having a good time. But yeah, I wanted Joel to come back. I didn't care about literally any other
Correct,
unit could be the other two, and I wouldn't care. Like you could have like Camilla and Roxy as the other two units, and I wouldn't have minded as long as Joel was in there.
But how GP did it with this voting stuff? It was the top 9 or top 10 that got featured.
And what's
They did
Global
the-
doing? Top 3?
No, like if on JP, right? They said like he was gonna be top 3, but actually was top like 8 or 9.
All right, well, at least that gives us hope then.
Mhm.
If it is like JP did for the first anniversary, then Joe would be in the banner.
Okay, so now we transition into JP stuff.
Ugh.
We got leaks.
Nice.
We got leaks coming out. We just got Escanor, and following Escanor, there's only one way to go: Assault Mode
Long
Meliodas.
Oh, I thought you meant the lane.
No,
Unlucky.
we'll talk about the lane in a bit. It's some transition into it, okay?
Yeah.
But Assault Mode Meliodas, we have his login tickets, or not his login tickets, the shop tickets, right? that you can purchase, or they give you a couple tickets for free, whatever those are. Those tickets, the summoning tickets, were leaked in the files. We have an idea that he might be coming for Christmas. Nothing confirmed. This is just speculation. But if not, maybe for New Year's or within the next month, possibly.
The thing is that if he's a festival, he should only come like late January or February, because they never made a festival come like in less than 2 months. The only one that did was Liz for anniversary, and Ascon between Liz and King was a 3-month spam, and between King and Ascon was a 3-month spam again. So if they don't release him for like Christmas as like a Christmas special character, but they release him as a festival, it should be like late January or late February, which I don't want to wait that long. Like, knowing he's coming, I don't want to wait that long.
I want to wait.
But in terms of healthy meta, I think the 3-month gap is pretty good.
Yeah. But listen, we got December ads, boys, and you need them now.
Oh, true. But what do we think? Like, what are you expecting from Assault Mode Meliodas? Do you think he's gonna be a unit like LV when he came out, like Escanor, like that just completely take over the game the moment he comes out?
If he's a festival, he would be like that, yes.
What if he's not a festival? What if he's just a Christmas unit?
Then he could not be.
I think he's gonna be busted either way.
Them to do is give it that counter from Super Boss, where it's the AoE counter. That would be so cool. And then you run him with Estarossa Tarmiel, and then it's just the Cancer like triple stance team. That would be so good.
It'd be really nice to get another Meliodas with the counter. But
and one that they have like taunt as well, so he actually works in PvP.
Oh yeah, we need a taunt. Or make it so it's like Blue King, where it's just whenever anyone gets attacked in your team, he just yeets them.
That's even more Cancer.
Yeah, because then you run Tarmiel Estarossa on him, and it's even worse.
Like you attack, you're like forced to attack Estarossa like for some reason, and you just take 2 counters back to back.
Yeah,
that looks so good.
And they don't take damage because Tarmiel damage reduction.
What color? What type would you want Assault Mode Meliodas to be?
I mean, green.
Yeah, pretty much. I think he has to be green.
Do you want him to be green, or you think he's going to be green?
No, he has to. There's no green festival yet.
Okay.
If he's red,
and he has to beat the one. Yeah,
that's the thing. Like red units right now are just not like they just can't compete in PvP on JK. The only unit that can is Sauriel, and even still, he needs Drow for the taunt, or else he just dies turn 1.
That's why you run Red Melascula, boys.
All right, buddy.
Red Melascula, green OG Melly.
Classic.
The classic counter. Get it? Counter. Okay, so there really isn't much to talk about when it comes to Assault Mode Meliodas. I just wanted to bring him up, just because we got some of his files here and there. We are expecting him in the future. He could be coming really soon if he isn't a festival unit, or he could be coming out, like Nagato said, late January or early February if he is a festival unit. And then at that point, you could probably expect someone busted. If he's Christmas unit, chances are he'll be good but not broken.
Finishing all the sins as festivals. That's the thing.
Because then, the issue ends up being is this will be like a repeat Meliodas.
It'll be a new named Meliodas too, as another festival.
Oh, right. That's one more thing I want to bring up. Is Assault Mode Meliodas comes out. That means we get... I'm assuming that he will be a new named Meliodas just because he will.
Yeah, he should be, yeah. Because Assault Mode.
But then we get... So, starting off with original Meli, we have Demon Meliodas. Now we have Lost Vein Meliodas. And then we'd be getting Assault Mode Meliodas.
The first character with 3 names. Meliodas. I mean, he's the main character, so I guess it makes sense.
He is, but it really is rough. For example, like, I bought the outfits for original Meliodas, like within the first month of the game coming out. And as his costumes would come out, and it's just like, well, he has yet to get a character. Like, original Meliodas has yet to get another character.
Legend Meliodas needs to get a new character so his stats get buffed, because those stats are rough.
Right. And then, but we've gotten 3 Demon Meliodases, and we've gotten a Lost Vein.
I actually was really hoping Assault Mode would be just base Demon. But he's different. Maybe they give him a different costume that the base can't use or something. But like, if he would still be Demon Meliodas to use the same costumes. Unfortunately, he's not. And like, they buff Demon Melee stats, because Demon Melee stats are not that great either.
Yeah.
I mean, it is possible, right? Like, look at the final boss skins that like all Meliodases can use.
Nah, but the thing is that, like, on the leak, right, it shows like that character picture with the costumes. There's 3 new costumes. I don't think they would give the ML brand new like full-on costumes. If like, because when they release a new character with the same name, they just get that costume. They don't get like brand
exactly.
Okay.
I hope he has something that makes it so he can't take damage turn 1 and 2. So the 1 can't kill him.
Then next topic is going into Escanor, which we kind of briefly mentioned, but it's been how many weeks has it been since we got Escanor now?
3.
Almost a month.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How are our impressions of Escanor a month later?
Toxic.
Like,
I thought he was the most fun unit, but he's so toxic.
You'd think that a unit that's as boring as he just does damage wouldn't be so good these days, but like he just does too much damage.
Yeah.
It is
like, I'll say overall in the game in general, Green Gopher is the best just because he's very utility. But like, the most powerful unit most definitely is Escanor, and then second place I'd say it's Sariel. Most powerful unit most definitely is Escanor. Like, he one-shots green units. Like, he doesn't care. It's so toxic because, like, turn 2, right? You face Liz, because Liz is in every team. Let's say Liz stuns you turn 2. Well, turn 3 you're immune. You lose that stun. And then the following turn, they can't stun you anymore because you're immune. Like, it's just so stupid.
He's busted. And he'll probably need a unit like Assault Mode Meliodas to come out to kind of put him down the same way when Escanor came out, King fell off the ground.
I mean,
Sariel did that already.
Lost Vein only got something like that with Escanor. Until now, Lost Vein was still like a front unit on every team almost. But I mean, now people use him in the back.
Mm-hmm. But like, Lost Vein was still like, when King came out, Lost Vein was just great, but not as broken.
Yeah, because you can control Oak Age too easily with King Team. Yeah, it was too difficult. 1.3 million, Jesus. Okay.
Did you see that in the video?
Yeah, I was like, damn man, I got Escanor, cool.
Like, with King, you would just do your rotation on Lost Vein and then punch him next turn, and he'd die.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, but Lost Vein teams, like, if you're going to go and tier it, like, tier 1 would have been King, tier 2 would have been Lost Vein, but like, or like tier 1.5. Right, so like, Lost Vein was still there, still existed, just was not the King anymore.
Yeah,
but now,
the King team, right? Sometimes you would crit Mally twice by accident, and then you just gave him like potentially 3 level 3 cards if you got an extra one, right?
That is true.
Sometimes you could get like messed up by that, or if you went second, if the Mally team used Goddess Liz shield, then you're just screwed because
you'd have to, unless you were running Ludo on your team, like there was almost no way around that. Like for me, I run the Goddess, the King team with Ludo, right, as the variant.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it weaker against some teams, but better against Goddess Elizabeth teams. So I was fine with those, but overall, like, again, most people can't run Ludo the same way. So, Escanor, overhyped or not?
No.
I think I think people underestimate him. High key.
You'd be impressed. So many people, when he released, were like, "Oh, he doesn't seem that good. I actually want to."
Shout out Seed. Because they're all global players and they haven't experienced getting one shot by HB defense turn 1.
True.
And then, like, they face someone that's immune to debuffs and just get stronger every turn. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. This is random tangent, but speaking of one-shotting with HP defense, I should have brought this up with the Ludo team, right? When you're rocking Ludo, Gowther, Death Pierce, I was using blue Zeldris, the crit Zeldris, with HP defense, and I one-shot every unit.
Yeah, I know. I use the same thing. It's stupid.
And it's like, oh, okay. So the meta of just like HP defense, you still do insane amount of damage is so nuts. Like, why? You don't need to run attack on Escanor.
With HP defense, he has like 55.2 KCC.
Yeah.
Going first is too good in this game.
Right now,
true.
It's just important to go first.
The only time like going second was like really big was when Ult Rush was still like really up there, or like King Brum. Oh man, what a name, King Brum.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. King Brum.
Good time.
Since then, there's not really been a time that you'd want to go second. Pretty much never really.
I mean, especially ever since the King team released. If you went second,
it's more than red, I think already. If Arthur goes first with level 3 buff, I guess I surrender.
Yeah.
No, like with the King team, if you went second against the King team, you just lost. You had no chance.
Oh, yeah.
But still worth summoning for, still worth skipping King, yes or no?
Yes.
I think skip because it's such a short-lived meta, bro. Like, it really is.
Oh yeah.
One that you'll be on the next fest banner anyways.
It's like you go ham on these two units, and then like before you know it, that whole meta of those two is just like no one's playing it anymore. No one cares about it. You know, people are still gonna use their Goddess Liz and Lost Vein garbage, but that King stuff, like no, like you know, after the initial hype, no one uses it. Like even on JP, like you guys say, like no one uses that stuff, right?
No,
no one used it only like towards Escanor's release.
Even with the buff, it's still bad. It's like I don't know what happened. I used to be like genuinely afraid of the team and be like, oh god, I'm gonna get one shot turn 1 again from King's big man punch after 2 debuffs even. And now I face it. I'm like, okay, cool. He's gonna tickle me a little bit. I don't know what happened. They patched him. Something happened.
No, the thing like, on release, King was like the best team in the game. King Handy was the best team in the game. And then just over time, people started using Gowther, Liz, and Melly. And if you went second against them, they just shield, and what can you do? Like the debuff cards don't break the shield. Like, and then at that point, you just lost.
Right. Which was my point, that when King came out, he didn't make LV irrelevant. He just made him like slightly worse, meaning that he was still just like pretty much just a regular team that you could run still. So you didn't really need to run King at all. And the fact that Green Gowther is now on global really early, like the Green Gowther, Goddess Liz, Lost Vein team is gonna be like that's gonna stay there until Escanor comes out.
Something that no one talks about that also dethroned the King team was Pierce with the addition of Rugal. Because
I was about to say,
if you get
you do 3 debuffs and he procs his passive.
No, like also if you went first, right, against the King, and you got 3 Pierce cards, you just got like double Rugal and the melee, you just one shot the whole team because they're not using Red King in the back; they're already using King in the front. They died.
Right. It's we got Goddess Liz in the back like 99% of the time.
Like every
or
team.
You could just be like me and just run blue Gowther, and the team is pretty much.
People also found out that if you use Valenti and Green Dariari, they actually don't do damage to you, so they can debuff you.
Yeah.
So over time, people found ways to counter the team to the point where people stopped running because it just wasn't worth it.
And another thing, and I think this is the most important thing, right? Because this is global, our metas go much faster than JP's. So, you know, King's going to release, and the meta is going to be so short just because we get weekly banners, which, it sucks and stuff.
You guys already know how to counter King, too. Because it takes a while to find these things out. Like, if I use Pierce, Rugal is already on global, right? If I use, like, Goddess Liz first and Shield, or if I use Valenti, they can do anything. Like, you guys already know that.
Yeah. And
a lot of the
King team, it's dependent on going first as well. So it's like, are people really going to give up their precious Gowther, Lost Vein, Goddess Liz team to build this brand new team when they could just stick with their old garbage? You know what I mean? I think King's gonna be a big miss on global.
Nah,
In my opinion, anyway.
King is a sad unit. He's the first festival to actually become kind of irrelevant. Like even Lost Vein is still relevant.
Yeah,
Imagine
because
if King
Lost
was
Vein
green.
is like you can get 3 wins just because your Lost Vein was attacked. Like that's the kind of garbage game design we're talking about when it comes to Lost Vein.
With the main meta team right now that everyone uses is Gelfer, Liz, Escanor, and Melee in the back. The reason they use Melee in the back is if a unit dies, Melee comes to the front and Gelfer's passive is still procced. If they use like Death Pierce in the back and like let's say Liz dies, then 2 humans, Gelfer's passive goes away. And no one uses Death Pierce because no one has been built except me. And then
I love Death Pierce.
I love him too. And like he's the perfect unit to put in the back because if someone dies, that's a good unit in the front, you know?
Mm.
And so he's still relevant. And no one would use King like that because King, as soon as he comes out, I mean, King, if you don't have Hendrickson, he just
King
trash.
doesn't work without Hendrickson. Like he's useless. You know?
I think that's his main issue. Like he needs Hendrickson or else he's just not good.
Okay, so we've been talking about King dying. Let's talk about Elaine releasing as last
Come on,
ditch
man. We don't have
effort.
to talk about
We're
this.
still talking about King dying.
Yes.
We don't have to talk about this.
Last ditch effort from Netmarble
On
to save
paper, it
the
looks
King
so
team.
good.
Passive doesn't work. I don't know. Because I tried extensively. I used this team so much with her in the back, her in the front. It doesn't make a difference. It just doesn't make a difference. It's so sad.
Yeah, it was like I didn't even end up summoning for her. I just let her go by after seeing your videos.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, because the thing is, like, my King team is insane, and I was like, you know what, maybe this will make it viable. But like, Elaine's passive needed to be like double the stats of what it was.
Yeah, or like here's the thing: her passive is for each poison, bleed, chakra corrosion, decreases pen, crit rate, and crit damage. No attack. It should have also lowered attack. If it did that, maybe it would have.
If it just said attack related stats, that's it.
Yeah,
like just lower attack related stats by this much.
The thing is that now, like, you would think that they released this unit to counter Escanor, right? Because Escanor made the King team completely irrelevant. Like it was like he wasn't the most relevant. You could still use him, but after Escanor, he became completely irrelevant. And they were like, okay, let's release this. This might cuck Escanor, right? Because it's reducing his crit rate, crit damage. But no, he still one-shots King. So it's
and then the other thing with Escanor is his passive. He's just immune on turn 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, so if you don't kill him in the first 3 turns, you lose.
So they just nailed the coffin for King. Like this was the chance of King to be a good team again, but it didn't work out.
Okay, we talked about. We don't have to talk about Elaine too much. She came out after Escanor to supposedly counter Escanor and make King viable again, but it didn't do it. So she was a big miss. Another a useless Elaine, sadly, that no one's ever going to use.
They made her a different name too. It's a different name than Elaine.
It could have just been the same one. All the costumes would have went over. Because most people have, I wouldn't say most people, at least the main costume that people have is the one, the Halloween, not the Halloween one.
The Valentine's
one.
Parade,
so it's just like you'll have stats for her. They could have easily released the same unit and buffed her, which is something that I'm praising Netmarble for recently. I really like them releasing units like Arthur, like who else did we have? Jericho.
Oh, Green
Jericho was huge. Jericho was because she actually came with a proper buff.
I really like Red Jericho.
I like Red Jericho's existence because it buffed the other Jerichos.
Mm-hmm.
It buffed green one that used today.
Green Jericho after the buff is actually so good.
Yeah,
and it's like that is such a good concept, right? Just releasing units. It's just it's not a rework. It's just like, here, these units that aren't getting used, here's some buffs. And I can't wait for that to happen for like Gil Thunder, Hauser, Slater, like these units that are not
Slater.
viable.
Oh yes, please. When are we gonna get a new Slater, boys?
We need a new base Melee, and then base Melee gets a buff to his stats because base Melee, like, he's the main character.
Defensive stats.
I need a new Milim that gets 40% pierce, please.
We don't need. Oh, okay, okay.
Look, counter Melly's stats. Pierce rate 20%.
Oh yeah,
Resistance
it's
80%.
It is so when the game came out, Netmarble did not understand their own damage
Stats.
formula, right? Like they didn't understand how much of a difference Pierce and Patience make. And now units are coming out with like 60, 70, 80% Pierce on them just built in.
That's 100%. Tarmio is insane. Tarmio, my Tarmio has 110% Pierce or something. So
And
crazy.
it's like Netmarble's like, oh, this is a stat that actually matters, not just attack.
Okay,
Mhm.
so let's give Escanor base 80 without
okay, so-
costumes.
Tarmio has the highest CC in the game, and he has 102% Pierce, and he has 94% crit resistance. Like 94. You're
The
not
secondary stats matter so much. But yeah,
That is correct. It can literally make or break a unit, and that's not even
Yeah.
exaggerating.
If you have below 40 Pierce rate, I don't like you.
hmm
I think 40 is bare minimum.
How much
It's
does the one have? I forgot. My the one has 73.5. He actually has last in base.
But he gets 6% turn one already. So
Yeah. He
Mhm.
gets the 18% at max.
and then he has influx.
Fusing Green Gallifrey.
influx, boys, I love that. I was gonna mention this earlier. How are they gonna make green? How are they gonna make Assault Melee counter Escanor? Because if they just make him do more damage, and it's just wow, you run both of them on the same team.
Yeah, Assault Meliodas has deflux.
Assault Melee.
Has deflux, true.
Wait. Card effects wouldn't work with Assault Melee. So like the influx wouldn't do more damage. He wouldn't be stunned. Like anything that's an effect just doesn't work on him. That'd be
Yeah,
crazy.
that's why. Like, he has to be a defensive type unit, I suppose. Not an offensive one, but it's assault mode. Assault. How is assault not gonna be offensive?
What if you just do Escanor's card backwards, right? Instead of Escanor being at higher health to do more damage, you just
Yeah,
do
it's the enemy,
Meliodas
yeah.
deals more damage to higher health units.
Yeah, but it's still I don't know. It's just the one, but green. Because he's still just gonna one shot 2 or 1 unit at least minimum every turn.
Deflux, okay?
It's like sorry, the one. Maybe Assault Melee we don't know what he will do. But like these characters just have the potential just one shot characters. Like how far have we come?
True, just have Meliodas take 50% less damage from humans as passive.
Days and demons.
What, you missed the days of old King Brum?
Like is
When people
thing
only
is,
had like 2/6 ultimates on their units and ults wouldn't one shot?
that's
yeah.
GB.
I mean,
Well,
6
they-
Excalibur still doesn't one shot, so
Global Day 1 people had Blue King 660.
That is correct. I can attest to that.
You're messed up.
Whereas
remember
day one on
buying-
JP, we was oh god, I don't know what we was doing day one of JP.
We didn't even have coin shop units day one. Like
That
we got them
is,
like week.
Oh
week
yeah, the
two.
card drop in global was so weird. Yeah,
Yeah,
on
we,
start.
we didn't get the
I
first
think
coin
we
shop
got
unit
the,
till
we
like
got
week
the,
2.
a week, yeah, and it was Nunchuck Barn, and everyone
Yeah, we
was
started
like,
with Bond.
everyone was like, oh my god, broken unit, need to get him. People were scrambling to get coins to get their barn. Good times, man, good times.
That's
If you
the
never- if you-
simplicity I
missed
miss.
Listen.
Yeah.
If you never played that first month of JP, then you never understood
don't know what
peak
Grand Cross is
Grand
like.
Cross is. What that
Yeah.
like the best like part of Grand Cross was that first month of JP, and it was absolutely amazing.
You do a demon on extreme, right? Because Great Demon was like damn near impossible on extreme. You do like a red demon on extreme, and the friend joins with a Slater with 8,000 attack. You're like, damn, this guy is SR gear, insane. What a whale!
Insane.
And now it's like, wow, only
Man.
12k attack.
You could not
Oh,
tell me
yeah.
another gacha game where I struggled so much on the story mode.
Sent me a tweet asking me why my melee sucks on my global team. He had 15k attack. I have SSR gear on him because on global
Archetypes.
Okay,
Force-
so we go into final topic, which is the most controversial topic as well. It is going to be the tournament, and we're not going to spend too much time talking about the negative stuff. We will talk about it, but just briefly. But we're going to be talking about the tournament overall. Starting off, well, let's get the bad stuff out of the way. How has your experience been so far, Nagato?
don't stream anymore. I streamed the other day and all the chat is just toxic. It's everything about this tournament is toxic, and the reason for it is because there's gems involved.
The
Free to-
devs.
The free to play, by the way, is okay. They,
The
they
devs-
just really are hunting people. Like if whoever faces Seaton now, because Spam had to give up because he was getting so trash talked because he was facing Seaton. If someone beats Seaton, they're gonna get like hunted. They better watch out. And if Seaton loses, he also better watch out. Like
Yeah.
these people are like way too much.
So for context, for people who don't know, pretty much you can vote. If you haven't all done already, you go to the main page of the tournament and or the main page of your game on global. You'll see a little tournament icon. From there, you can hit on it and you can vote for one of the 8 people participating, in which me and Nagato are participating alongside Seaton, Kabuki, DeMonty, Nanogenic, Speedy, and previously Spam and Rice. Us 8 were supposed, we all know each other. Literally all 8 of us know each other. So it was really fun in the beginning. And we were just like, yeah, we're going to have a good time. We're not going to go too crazy. Like me, Nagato, Speedy, we're talking about this for like weeks in advance on how like, yeah, we're going to use full team of rares. We're going to have a fun time. Like, we're just doing this to get good content out. Until we found out. So the main reason for that was a lot of Netmarble did this really well on the content creator side, where they gave a massive amount of prizing up front for the participation. We got 300 gems and 2 hoodies, which is really cool. And then the prizing for actually winning the tournament is almost nothing, right? It really is like pathetically nothing. So it pretty much gives us incentive to have fun, right? Not to try hard. And that was what like the mindset we were going in, until we found out that the people who are supporting us, the entire player base gets to pick a person they want to support or cheer for, and depending on where that person places, they get a certain amount of gems. If that person gets last place, you get 20 gems, versus if he gets first place, you get 50 gems. And that difference of 30 gems is what's causing everyone to just shit the bed.
All right, so let me just catch everyone up here. Netmarble thought it was a good idea to place stakes in a popularity contest of the most popular content creators. So everyone, like, all of you guys are going to have your own fan base, your own community. They're going to be voting for you. And it's like, if you screw up, they're going to be annoyed at you. And it's just like, it just creates this whole toxic bubble, right? Because this is what it's ultimately about. Ultimately, this is all about 30 gems. This is what we're talking about here. This entire toxic thing that's going on is all about 30 gems. People are getting like poor Spam. He got abused so hard over what 30 potential gems. Like it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. I can't believe just how toxic everything is. Like literally just over gems. Like it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And I'm pretty sure you guys agree, right? That all of this over 30 gems is just ridiculous.
And it's crazy. Like like the moment we saw the results of who was in the tournament, the toxicity was already starting. You see people saying like, why am I in the tournament?
Well, you don't upload content for this game. Why are you in the tournament? Like, it's crazy, man.
And it's just like okay. And one thing that it's like it sucks is that I really wanted James for you to be in this tournament, because we would have had another like top contender. You literally upload the game every single day, but at the end of the day, the deciding factor for who was in it or not was just a number, right? Like number of subs that you had. There was no other factor involved, and unfortunately, we can be mad about that. But on Netmarble's side, it makes sense.
You can't really be too mad, because like obviously what this is about is Netmarble obviously want the content creators to share this with their fan base and just potentially get more people to play the game, just in case anyone who does watch your content doesn't play the game. So it's just incentive for new players. So it makes sense why I'm not in the tournament. I'm perfectly, it's fine.
And it's like I'll just give you an example. Nanogenics is in this tournament, and he did upload Grand Cross videos, and he plays Grand Cross. He has his account. It's absolutely whaled out account, absolutely amazing. He streamed it a bunch of times, but his primary content is not Grand Cross. It's Dokkan. So in Netmarble's eyes, that is a amazing opportunity to be like, yes, if we get Nanogenics in this tournament, that is a big W for us as Netmarble. So
Yeah.
it's just like, from a business side of things, from their side of things, it makes perfect logical sense. It just sucks being on our end. So all that means is everyone goes up to Shogun GC, get them in the next tournament.
Please.
And that's the only thing you can do.
One
It
day,
really
one day.
is. But overall, I'm glad that the 8 people in the tournament are people in the community and not like one thing that me and Nagato and Speedy were talking about was just like, what if they pick random people? Like people that we just never heard of, but somehow applied and got in. So
That would be tragic.
yeah. So at least people we know are in, which is fine. Hopefully things get fixed up for the next one. One of the other big things with the tournament was the gearing system. So if you guys have not set up your team on 3v3 Brawl yet, it is very similar to that, where you need a unique set of gear on every single unit on all 3 teams, meaning potential 24 sets of UR gear if you don't have it. Like for me on Global, I have a lot of UR sets on Global. I have almost 15 sets, but that's not 24.
Still not enough.
It's not 24. And like your average player does not have 15 sets of UR gear. So I'm on the upper end of amount of UR gear that I have. Like in terms of people who have more than me, it's really only Seaton Kabuki.
Yeah, it's very presumptuous for Netmarble to think that every content creator spends a mortgage on their game in order to have 24 sets of gear, because it's not easy to have 24 sets of gear. Just letting you know, to have 3 different teams, all different units,
And like,
all
don't
to
even
have
talk about
their own
UR,
sets.
just 24 sets of gear in general.
Yeah, not even not even optimized, just 24 sets in general.
And
It's
we're
crazy.
talking like a
Game
bare
isn't
minimum.
even a year old, yeah.
Like I am just now approaching, like on JP, I have maybe like 26, 27 sets. And a lot of those are like repeats as well, right? Like of those 26 sets, maybe I have like 2 Meliodas, I have 2 Kings, I have 2 like someone else, 2 Gothers. So it's not like I have 26 or 20 whatever unique sets of UR gear. And on top of that, every single one is not equally as good. Like I have some sets that are like 4-piece sets with like 13% substats, and I have some sets that are 15%. And those make a massive difference in who's going first, who's going second.
Do you know how this all gets avoided?
Ungeared.
Ungeared PvP.
Yep.
As simple
Ungeared.
as ungeared PvP.
The amount of team diversity you'd see in Ungeared, because like right now I have to run sweaty teams because that's all the gear I have. Like I just
For
have
your sweaty units.
yeah. But like I'm literally talking to James before this. I want to run Mikasa on my team, but people are gonna get upset that I'm running Mikasa. Like
Yeah,
I'm here to have a
he's
good
talking
time.
about me, by the way. I was upset that you wanted to use Mikasa because
It's not even you. There are people like you see the people. It's like, oh, you're using like I
Oh,
want
you're
to
using
run.
Mikasa. You're gonna lose. Oh, why did I vote for you? Oh,
It's
you know.
like I'm here to have a good time. Mikasa's my favorite unit. I want to use her on one of the teams to rep. She's the like my icon. Like you go vote for me. It's a picture of Mikasa. So, but yeah, I have two sweaty teams, and then I have one just for fun team with Mikasa on it, and whatever happens happens.
Yeah. Also, by doing it ungeared, all of a sudden, even like Spam, for example, on his free to play account, even he actually has somewhat of a chance, right? Because he doesn't need 25,000 gear sets that are all UR and stuff. Ungeared is a lot more manageable. That's
Mhm.
why me primarily, a lot of my content is ungeared PvP because it's just so much easier to deal with. You don't need to build UR gear for this unit and that unit and all that stuff. Like it's just so much more flexible, and I really don't understand why they chose geared PvP.
Mhm.
Like maybe they should have asked, a bit of communication would have really helped.
This is the first time in my history as a Grand Cross content creator that I have been contacted by a actual person I could message back. And yeah, so at least they're doing this much. And going forward, maybe it works out a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, at least you know, we actually speak to the devs, because some games their devs don't even speak to you. Like I know that for a fact. So at least you know, they are giving back somewhat to the community,
But it
whether it's
definitely
for the better
is
or worse.
an experiment for this one. Okay, so I did have some other things related to the tournament that I wanted to mention. I was gonna ask in terms of the teams people are using, but Nagato, are you alive? No.
Sora, you're alive?
I'm here.
Okay, thank God.
What do you think of the teams people are using? Like Seaton has his team set up already, and he's using standard stuff. Like he's got like a Goddess Ellie. He has like, you know, LV Melly Goddess Ellie team. He has a Pierce team, and I can't remember what his final team is. But majority of the people are set up with like standard teams. I think Nano has 3 troll teams on there, but I don't know if he's able to swap them or not, if that's the final thing. As of right now, he has the like Valentine's unit on one team, all the slime units on another team, and all the KOF all the like not the KOF units, all the Attack on Titan units on another team. But either way, so it's like I don't know who's taking this seriously and who's not as of right now.
No, don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm sure Nano's
I
gonna
feel like
fix
no
it,
one is
16.
no one would have taken it seriously if it wasn't for the community being massive. How do I say this in PG? If
Glue
they didn't
eaters.
whine that much about a multi.
Honestly,
A
bro,
potential
like
multi.
if I'm being 100% serious, all the content creators now should just not take this seriously, just because of the way
Yeah.
the community's like being towards this. Honestly, you guys should all just use troll
You-
teams.
you
and
guys
just
should-
have a laugh. Honestly, like,
and not
I'm
put
using
gear on too.
Mikasa. I told you.
like because at this point it's like
not a troll team.
no one should get 50 gems, because like everyone's just being
Yeah.
the how could we say it in everyone's being
Exactly. As I'm struggling with.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. We get the point.
Yeah. I feel like you should just coordinate it so the ones with the less votes should have been the winners. You should have just scripted it. So the people that voted for like Seaton, obviously, they just get cocked.
no, that's
And
when
then they
we
have an extra reason to get
a
upset.
flooding of the forums because of the 12-year-old free to plays didn't
Yeah,
get
but that's a
free
good way to
shaft
describe them. 12-year-old
multi.
free to plays.
you know.
The people that don't pay the bills. Very true.
Because Ignorant said in our chat, he's like, people are getting so worked up over a shaft multi, like they're gonna do a multi and get
Yeah,
shafted anyway.
they're getting worked
It's
up over
like-
3%. Okay.
It's crazy, man. You see, and honestly, like, this is the solid truth, right? Grown human beings are not going to be upset about these kinds of things. These situations are only
Rational
created-
human beings.
Yes, rational, grown-up human beings who actually, you know, have a sense of how can I say this kindly? They have a brain, right? So they
Yeah.
understand that not everything is gonna go their way. They're not gonna get angry at you because you are not going to like. Basically, what I'm saying is like only kids do this. Like let's be serious, right? Only kids, you know, get upset. at
Would
things
take
like
this thing serious.
yeah. Because like no grown man or grown woman or grown, you know, being is gonna be upset or you know get onto
Safe.
someone about 30 gems. Like you know, it's just crazy, man. It just goes to show. Like this is why kids should not be playing these kinds of games. Like these
Stay in school.
these games are not for kids. They are for 18-year-olds plus. So yeah. Please don't play gacha games if you're under 18. Thank you very much.
True.
This
jump
has
in here.
been
If you
my
think
head
30
rock.
gems is worth sending death threats for, then I don't know, mate.
But
Maybe
yeah,
gachas
yeah.
aren't your type of game.
If we can jump in here, Mystic, one of the problems with it too is we've already seen how really bad the community can be. I'm not going to drop names or anything, but over people's opinions, some members have already
Right,
done
we
things in
saw
the
it
past.
in the we saw it in the beginning
yeah,
when the
just
game came
because
out.
of somebody's opinion.
Where
Oh,
people,
yeah.
If you're
this is
losing a
like
whole
people's
multi-
threats, and like you think like, oh, they're just kids making jokes. Like, no, Like it has gone far to where like lawyers and other people were involved.
Oh yeah. Now I know
So-
what you're talking about. Okay. Yeah.
So it's like,
Very true.
yeah, so, some people unfortunately do take it too far. But okay, moving past this, I'll briefly mention the VAST tournament, which is the unofficial community tournament being run by one of the JP guilds who does both global and JP tournaments. And the cool thing about VAST is that they are self-sponsored. One of the people from their Radiant, believe his name is, sponsors the whole tournament for prizing, which is cash prizing, and it's really, really cool. It is a 3v3 tournament where you and 2 other friends, teammates, if you don't have people you can go in with, you can actually find members in the VAST Discord. Unfortunately, I don't have a link anywhere, but if you ask someone on Twitter, they'll probably send you it. Everything's filled in for this one, but for future ones, you could always join. So the way that it works is 3v3. You pick a team, your teammates pick their teams, and the units cannot be the same. So whatever unit I pick, Nagato can't pick, or Speedy can't pick. And on top of that, each unit has a team cost. Because not every unit is equally balanced in terms of how they're designed. So some units cost more to put on your team than others. And then they implement a cost limit of 130. And units are given, cost, for example, like Escanor is given a cost of 60, whereas someone like Blue Slater is given a cost of 20. And you have to formulate a team around that 130 cost cap with units ranging from anywhere from 20 to 60. And that's really how it works. So that tournament is going to be something that is a lot more fun. It is not any hate going on there. And you'll see, there you go. Choco put up the image so you can get an idea of what the stuff looks like. And it isn't a perfect system, right? Like not every unit in there is going to be where they should belong. But for a community-run tournament, it is really, really well placed. And I had a really good time last time, even though I threw for my team and lost almost every single match of the ones that mattered. But the next one is going to happen, I believe, tomorrow. And I got a
By the way, just to let you guys know, a group of people who play Netmarble's game created a better tournament than Netmarble themselves did, which is stunning. But here we are.
Imagine if Netmarble used that system.
Imagine
With the
CM Go
team
just
cost.
hit me up.
But either way,
Netmarble's idea is to create a stakes tournament where 90% of people are going to be very upset with the outcome, and only 10% are going to be happy because whoever they picked actually won. So yeah, good stuff.
Either way, that's all I wanted to mention for now. That's pretty much wraps up the discussion parts of the podcast. We are back, and it is Twitter. It is Twitter question time. So we only got a couple questions this time around. If you guys want to ask questions, make sure you go on the Five9 Gaming Twitter account, and the day before or 2 days before the podcast, someone will put up a thread on what about the upcoming podcast, and then from there, ask as many questions as you want, because we pick out stuff from there, and sometimes if the questions are good enough, we dedicate a whole topic to them. So starting off with question number 1, it is from Xmascus YouTube. To be honest, I'm curious to know, do you want Assault Meliodas to be as or more powerful than the one? If not, where would you guys like to see him fit when it comes to the current meta? The issue, for me at least, is overall power creep. Like, power creep is going to happen, and no matter what game you play, it's going to exist, and that is just the nature of gacha games. But the pacing of power creep goes a long way in determining the lifestyle or the lifespan of a game. So I really don't want Assault Mode to be better than Escanor, but I do want him to counter him in some way or form. I think that'd be relatively healthy, but Escanor is like a really big bump in terms of power scale or like power creep of the average Grand Cross unit. Any agreeers?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about Assault Mode. We don't want him to just be stronger. That wouldn't be healthy for the game. So if he was like a defensive counter type unit, specifically for humans, I don't know, then yeah, sure. But if he's just straight up stronger in like every single way, then that doesn't make sense. Because the next unit will have to be stronger, and then so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that's fine for this question. Next question is, I know this might be a random question, but Assault Mode Meliodas is going to take longer than usual to appear on Grand Cross. Would you want to fill in those empty slots who would you want to fill in those empty slots until that comes out? I feel like Bond needs a better card to represent him.
I think we all can agree that Bond needs a better card to represent himself.
I think this goes back to one of the topics we were talking about on the podcast itself, where units coming out of already existing units,
yeah,
and
so
buffing the
Slater,
previous ones.
Gil Thunder, like the OGs, OG melee, we talked about this. Just OG units getting buffs like straight up to their stats, and then new units that would buff them as well.
But it would be really cool for us to also get, like, let's say for whatever reason we didn't get assault mode this festival, and it went on for like another festival, and we got like Purgatory Bond in the meantime.
I think Gother should be before, like story wise, technically.
Right. We should get Wheelchair Gother first, or
Yeah, or
memory
Blunt Gother.
regained
I don't know,
Gother, whatever route they want to go.
Yeah, Heart Gother. Yeah.
Anyone
Yeah,
else? No?
That's
Okay. Next question.
all right.
When do you believe the next collab could come, and what are some possible IPs? We mentioned this in the last podcast as well, but it has been, I don't know how long it's been since the KOF, at least on both versions.
Think 2 months on JP.
Right, and then we had Attack on
So
Titan.
Genshin, yeah.
Like
And Attack on
couple
Titan
months
was a
before that.
month. Yeah, 1 month or two before that as well.
So in terms of pacing, we've gotten three collabs so far: AOT, Slime, and KOF. I would really like another. Like, the thing is, like, that is
Anime,
a good
yeah.
amount of collabs, right? Like, that is, like, other games don't do, like, unless you're
Monster
Puzzles
Strike.
and Dragon or Monster Strike or whatever. Like, majority of games aren't doing collabs the rate at which Grand Cross is doing. So I think it's fine if we don't get a collab for a while, but they are setting a precedent, and I would like, I'm say it every single time, Fairy Tail collab.
What would your dream collab be? Like, as unrealistic as it might be.
Dream collab. Well, I don't know. I honestly think a collab that I would go full out for would have to be either Demon Slayer or Jujutsu Kaisen as of right now.
Okay, fair.
And it's like Demon Slayer is such a beautiful anime, and I think that like Grand Cross would do it justice.
100%, 100%, yeah.
And bring back ultimate move, like collab moves.
Fate, yes.
Fate.
Fate Ultimate. It's been so long since we've gotten one.
What? So you want Fate, but like who do you?
I don't want
think-
Fate.
Oh, you
I said
don't want Fate?
collabs.
Oh,
My dream collab would technically be Blaze Blue, but that's not never happening.
Oh, okay. So not even like anime, just like
Yeah.
game IP. Okay. Okay, we can go on to the next one.
Yeah.
If I'm not a competitive PvP player and focus more on PvE, will it be alright to summon on banners of the characters I like? Yes, but there are some really good PvE characters that you need to go after. Specifically, for example, Goddess Elizabeth, really good PvE unit.
Green Arthur.
Yes, Green Arthur.
If he's not free on global, then for sure.
units
summon.
that already passed, but as an example would be like Blue Lilia. Right, really good, both PvP and PvE unit. Red Derriere, right? Must have if you're
Yeah,
only focused on
100%.
PvE. Besides that, as long as you can guarantee those type of units, then summoning for whatever else you want should not be an issue, right? Like if
If
you're
you don't
playing,
care for clearing top
Yeah.
end game content, then you can just summon whatever you like. If you just want to have fun with the game, yes, sure.
like it all depends on what your intentions with the game are. And if you're perfectly fine with like, yes, I don't really care about PvP, I don't care about high ranking in final boss, then just play the game at your own pace. Summon for whoever you want, as long as you're able to get the units that help you get there. Do we have any more questions? Will there be a
No.
time where Global catches up to JP and becomes a better version of Grand Cross? I say this because of
Ooh.
how Global does things. And do you think they'll just become a translator? We mentioned this again on the last podcast between, for example, like Naruto Blazing, which was only a week or two behind in terms of Global and JP. And they were just like, something would come out 1 week and then the following week it was out on Global. I don't think it is possible for Grand Cross to do that, only because the game is much, much bigger. And games like Dokkan or Naruto are much easier to kind of translate from one version to the other, even though Dokkan is millennia behind. But I don't think Grand Cross is simple enough that they can keep it that close. I do think it will get closer to the point where it's maybe only like a month off, or maybe like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks off. But other than that, I don't think it'll become closer than that. In terms of if it becomes better, it's just preference. Like if you want to be playing on the version that's ahead or not. Like some of the fun is just like playing on the version that gets the stuff first.
Also, if he's just talking about like how they manage the versions, even if Global catches up to JP, because a lot of people like tend to say that Global is managed better. For the most part, that's just because they know what's coming, they know what people like are hyped for and whatnot, and because they are pushing out content at a higher rate. Obviously, they're going to have to release freebies at a higher rate as well, because otherwise players can't keep up.
And
whereas on JP, everything is a little more spread out and chill.
So I want to bring it up. So what makes Global better than JP? So I don't like it. Again, it's just preference. But one of the things that Global has that's like a pro to Global is, besides just knowing what's going to come out, is the fact that a lot of the bad stuff that comes out on JP ends up getting fixed when it comes to Global. So we'll have like systems that don't work out. Like a lot of the I'll give you an example. Super Awakening. Like Super Awakening came out on JP, got fixed after a few months, but for those few months it wasn't fixed and it was really rough on JP. But Global never gets to see that, right? They only see the improved version. So in terms of like game systems,
nerfed Hendrickson too.
Yeah. Right. Like you can actually just play the game on Global.
Yeah.
So it's things like that, right? Like Global gets the advantage of being later and not having to deal with like these like community backlash issues as much as on JP when things go wrong. So yeah, and I think we have one more question, right? Or is that the last one?
Yeah, we have one more.
What are your most wanted units from the final season? So I actually don't know.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah, spoiler warning. If you have not,
I'll try to keep it very, very.
If you have not read the manga, this is spoilers. This is beyond anime's point, right? Some of the stuff we're going to talk. If you don't want to listen, don't listen. So okay, now we begin. One thing for sure, Purgatory Bond for me.
Okay, I thought you were going to say something else. Like,
no. I'm not going too far. Okay.
Okay, no. The way you started to say that, okay, he's going to say the person starts with M. I was like, damn, all right, dude. Okay.
No, but like Purgatory Bond has been spoken of, so people in like anime watchers already know.
Yeah.
But like, who are you looking forward to?
Everyone, but mainly, hopefully, Newslater. But I mean, he didn't really do much. But I think reasonable units that are actually going to come out is a new Zeldris, a new Merlin. I actually really want a new Merlin. I feel like all her units are kind of boring to use. And then a new Escanor, a new the one, because there's going to be a conch up the one for sure. So I'm excited for that one. And then all the melee cards, the countless melee cards.
Okay.
Oh, and Hawk's partner, I'll say.
Hawk's partner. There we go. Okay, so
a Hawk unit.
This is going to be wrapping up the podcast. It seemed like Nagato had something urgent to do towards the end, so he wasn't able to finish it up. And I think James had to do something right after the break as well. So unfortunately, Twitter questions were not as involved, but it should be fine for next week. Not next week, 2 weeks from now, and we will have Speedy back on here for that. So it'll be me, Nagato, Speedy, plus another guest. Sora could be coming back, or he could not, depending if I want him here. But we'll probably
on if I want to. Thank you.
No. I'm the big man. But pretty much, it'll be me, Speedy, Nagato with a rotating guest. I would like to get more people on here. For example, Seaton. There's like Cynical Alex. I would like some of the smaller people
Nano
as well.
Would be interesting.
Yeah,
too.
Actually, I would
His
like
take
to see
on the game.
Nano to see what he's into, what's his stance on from like an outside, someone who doesn't really like is not fully invested the same way we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it for now.
Was anyone in the
And,
chat? If you're watching the premiere live on YouTube, I do believe as this is wrapping up, the Dokkan podcast should be going live around this time. Make sure to check that out.
Okay. And that's it for me. Choco, any things I missed? Any socials I gotta link?
No, that'll all be linked down in the premiere, and yeah, that's about it.
Okay, thank you.
Good show.